Yeah, okay. So to start off the demo, we'll show some changes made to the accounting page. To start, for receivables, we've added an invoice date column here, and we've moved the customer over to the left side of the table. Just some nice little cleanup there. And then additionally, for the GL card, we now have an implemented kind of a KPI card here. Shows the current fiscal year, the current open period. This is actually April in our testing test data right now in our dev system. But beyond that, you can interface your registers for AP, INV, WO, AR, and you can also kind of see a little report of it. So we can click this to kind of get a listing for inventory registers. Defaults to the current open period time frame here. And we've got a little bit of a listing here. And we can also see the same thing for GL transactions. And here you can kind of open up to see the details for the line items of each transaction. And then so beyond that, you can go. So this is the equivalent of GL int.p1. Let's go through April again. So we saw that we had some open items there. You can go ahead and save that. If we have a certain less than 5 transactions, it'll give us the list, and if it's more than 5, it'll just kind of tell us it's processed because it's hard to read that otherwise. But we can see now all of them have been posted here, and we can do the same for the GL. So this would be the GL trans.p1. And so I don't know if that would have gone into this month. So we can do all transactions here, and optionally too, you can enter specific GL transaction numbers if you'd like to post specific ones, but we're just going to kind of grab everything we can for the state range. So we can see 3842 was posted. And then this will refresh to get new metrics. And of course, still showing April, so it doesn't make much of a difference here since we posted May. But yeah, those are kind of the changes made for the GL and accounting page for now.
Okay, so we bring in the KPI cards from the customer portal, as Mike mentioned. So essentially, you can select on a customer, and it's going to pop up a list of different cards that are going to pop up at the top now for the invoices, tickets, and orders. And if you notice, me and Christian have worked on a new loading animation that we've been playing around with. Which I can kind of show again by selecting another customer, and then you'll see right here that kind of has a nice little loading animation that we thought would be a little bit better than the spinning animation we've been using everywhere. So the functionality behind these is you can click on a card and it'll essentially take you to that tab, and then give you more or just take you to the table. And this works for all the cards. It'll take you to the exactly where you need to go. So orders will take you to orders, and on top of that, it just gives a nice little overview of information that is relevant for all these tables within a specific date range. So yeah.
So right now there's no, beyond just the KPI card taking you to the relevant section, the data in the table may or may not align to what's in the card. There's no drill down capabilities yet from the KPI to the tables. There are different API calls into the system to get the summary information used at the KPI level versus what's in the table, which is being driven by the filters you have applied there. So we'll continue to evolve all that, and most likely you'll see KPI cards start to pop up in each of the subsections too. So, when you click on invoices here and it takes you to the AR table, having some different KPIs above the AR table to kind of further dial in what we've got going on over there. Just a nice pattern to be following to add some more pop into the interface. So you're seeing KPI stuff pop up on the accounting page. We've seen it pop up in point of sale when you're in the invoices tab and you get the aging summary over there. We've had them on the customer portal for a minute. So the idea here is just to be reusing this functionality that we have more consistently across the application. A nice step forward here. So thanks, Assad. Any questions here?
There's a few new changes, nothing too huge, mostly cleanup and just functionality, but I could show you a few things and how it relates to the back end. So the first thing here is that you can create a customer on the fly from point of sale, unless that's not checked off, which it might not be in the market app control, but I thought it was. Sorry. Yeah, okay. Well, I'll check back into that. The other thing is a phone number search that you can do, like a customer phone number search. So that pulls up Evan Supplies, which takes us to Evan Supplies. And then I'll show you that the ship partials or partial orders. So this is an order that I created earlier. And we can ship the order in total, or we can go to the ship partial order screen. So again, if there's a non-stock item or a line stock, as we call it in Rover, it will prompt you for a vendor and won't allow you to ship it. That's a setting, so you can change that. So you can go ahead and select a vendor, and you can also update the ship address. So if you had an order with this test address, you could go ahead and change it for this shipment, and then when you ship the rest of the order, update that. That would come up if you're shipping it to the store or you're shipping to the customer themselves. So you can do that, and then you can go ahead and ship this order, and it will tell you that it's been partially shipped. 27674. Just need to remember that. And again, you'll see this source order total, which is basically the total cost of the order, and then what's due now. So basically what you've shipped already. So if we look in the desktop, you'll be able to see in this sales order, we see that the PO has been applied to the sales order, so we can track that all together. Then we can go ahead and submit payment. So the other new thing here is the credit memo creation. So if I apply payment with an overage, that overage will automatically be applied to the rest of the order. So if I just do, let's say, $20 here, submit, and submit the payment, I'll get that pop up. But if I go back into my sales order, I think that was it. And we go to tax credits, you'll see that this on account, this credit memo will be applied when the rest of the order ships. So that's kind of how that works. And then, to close out the PO, that's something that we would do on the desktop. But you can go ahead, close the PO, ship the rest of the order, and do all of that you could ship the rest of the order from point of sale. So that's the new and improved partial shipment screen.
I think that's there's a lot of things married up into this, but one of the cool things happening is that capacity for your clerk your salesperson to originate a purchase order related to that sales order too. So that's something Rover has hooked into the SO file, and we're now doing a very similar thing from the web. So the rest of the purchasing process would still happen from the desktop side or whatever the ERP is on the back end. You know, we've not yet brought the rest of purchasing over to the web, but at least that person at the register, right, no longer have to bounce between applications to be originating the PO for that sales order, which is pretty slick. And we've seen that coming up in a number of conversations here. So any questions? Thank you, Shoshana.
Okay, so a couple of the improvements we made in point of sale is the category filter. So as you can see, there's now 2 items. So there's this select drop down and this categories button. And so one of the things we've done is we've sort of added a top bar navigation as well. So as you're sort of drilling down, you could see where you're going. And so we'll just get back to the top level. And so we've also added a drill down. So you're able to sort of select in a sort of tree format, whichever category you would prefer to go through. And so they work together in tandem. So if you're in here, you could move back. You could also search for other ones. But that's sort of one of the big new things we've made to point of sale is the categories filter. There's also like you're also able to use other filters as well, and it's sort of driven by as you're sort of selecting into new categories, you could see some other ones pop up. So there was brand, and then I think if we go to plumbing and faucets, oh no, it's still brand.
I think on this system, yeah, you have to get to all the way to the bottom level before it'll start to show additional filter options, if this is the customer that I'm thinking of. But
Yeah,
I'd have to check with the guys doing the
no, I
back
know.
end piece there. They might have stopped sending those filters back for now.
Yeah, they might have, but yeah, I thought that was pulling in different ones, but I guess not anymore. But yeah, that's sort of one of the big changes. Other than that, there's just been a couple of just UI improvements. We've sort of changed the way the address cards work, so now you could um, navigate to the front and back using these new navigation tools. We've just made some small improvements with adding some filters and drop downs. But yeah, just a lot of small improvements that I think we're gonna add up to bring a lot of benefit to point of sale.